In Islam, the worth of a woman is not defined by her appearance, wealth, or the standards of society, but by her faith, modesty, and the light of her heart. A woman in Islam is honored as a daughter, respected as a wife, and revered as a mother. She is not a symbol of desire or display, but a symbol of dignity and faith. Her strength lies not in competing with men, but in complementing them through wisdom, compassion, and character. When comparing women across faiths or cultures, it is not about superiority, but about values. In Islam, a woman's beauty is protected, her honor is sacred, and her role is divine. She is not expected to reveal herself to earn validation, nor does she need to chase worldly recognition to prove her worth. Her true power is in her submission to Allah, which grants her peace beyond what material life can offer. While the world may teach women to seek freedom through exposure and independence from divine law, Islam teaches freedom through purity, self-respect, and obedience to the Creator. A Muslim woman's modesty is her crown, her hijab is her pride, and her heart's connection with Allah is her greatest asset. She walks in this world with purpose, not to impress, but to serve and uplift. Her success is measured not by worldly applause, but by the tranquility of her soul and the reward promised in the hereafter. The values she holds are timeless love for her family, patience in hardship, humility in strength, and faith in every circumstance. Islam elevates her status by giving her rights that were once denied to women in history: the right to inherit, to be educated, to choose her spouse, and to be honored for her devotion. Her worth is not negotiable, for Allah Himself has declared her noble. While societies may change their views, the value of a Muslim woman remains constant because it comes from divine wisdom, not human opinion. The light of a believing woman shines not in her face or clothes, but in her soul. She carries herself with faith, guards her heart with prayer, and walks a path of purpose, grace, and truth. In a world full of comparisons, her true victory is in her faith, and that faith makes her incomparable. True value of a woman in Islam. In Islam, a woman's worth is defined by her faith, modesty, and inner purity, not by appearance or worldly status. Dignity through modesty and faith. A Muslim woman's strength lies in her modesty, her obedience to Allah, and her ability to find freedom through purity and spiritual discipline. Divine rights and respect. Islam honors women with rights to education, inheritance, and choice, elevating their status through divine justice and compassion. Purpose over worldly validation. A believing woman seeks peace through serving Allah, not through society's standards of beauty or independence. Faith as the source of true power. The real power of a Muslim woman comes from her connection to Allah, which fills her life with purpose, grace, and eternal reward. In Islam, the true value of a woman is measured not by the world's standards, but by the purity of her faith and the depth of her character. She is not defined by her physical beauty, social class, or achievements in worldly matters, but by her relationship with Allah and her dedication to righteousness. The Quran teaches that both men and women are created from a single soul, equal in worth and potential before their Creator. This spiritual equality gives her a position of honor and purpose that no worldly comparison can diminish. A woman in Islam is seen as a complete individual with her own identity, intellect, and rights. She is not a shadow of man, nor is she placed beneath him in dignity. Her value lies in her taqwa, her consciousness of Allah, which raises her above materialism and vanity. In a world where many are judged by external appearances, Islam protects her from being reduced to an object of attraction. Instead, she is encouraged to cultivate inner strength, knowledge, and virtue. Her worth is connected to her sincerity, patience, and piety, qualities that are everlasting and far more beautiful than physical features. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ reminded the believers that the best among them are those who treat women with kindness and respect. This teaching shows how Islam honors the role of women in every aspect of life as mothers, daughters, wives, and individuals of faith. Her role is not limited to her home or family, Rather, she is capable of shaping the moral foundation of society. Every act of worship, kindness, and patience she performs is valued by Allah, who sees her efforts even when the world does not. Thus, her true worth is divine, eternal, and rooted in her unwavering connection to her Creator. Modesty and faith are two powerful qualities that define the strength and dignity of a Muslim woman. In Islam, modesty is not merely a form of dress, but a reflection of inner humility and self-respect. It is a shield that protects her honor and a light that guides her through the challenges of the world. Her faith teaches her that real freedom does not come from displaying herself to please others, but from protecting her purity to please Allah. Every step she takes with modesty is an act of worship, and every decision she makes with sincerity brings her closer to divine approval. A woman's modesty in Islam is not a sign of weakness or oppression. Rather, it is a symbol of power and control over her own identity. She chooses to live by the values of decency and righteousness, even when the world encourages her to do the opposite. Her hijab, her behavior, and her speech all become expressions of her devotion. This self-discipline gives her a strength that cannot be shaken by trends or opinions. Her heart is not swayed by the world's definition of beauty because she knows that true beauty lies in purity and good character. Faith gives her the courage to walk with confidence, knowing that Allah is her protector. It fills her heart with peace and makes her steadfast in the face of trials. When society tries to define her worth through appearance or attention, her faith reminds her that the eyes of Allah see her sincerity. She finds her dignity not in how others view her, but in how her Lord values her soul. Through faith and modesty, she gains both strength and serenity, a balance that makes her truly powerful in the sight of Allah. Islam has granted women rights and respect that uplift their dignity and secure their position in society. Long before modern movements spoke of equality, Islam established justice for women through divine revelation. A woman in Islam is not deprived of her identity or her independence. She is recognized as a full human being with her own will, property, and honor. Allah, in His wisdom, gave her rights to inheritance, education, and choice in marriage, ensuring her freedom within the boundaries of righteousness. These rights are not gifts from society, but decreed by the Creator Himself, which makes them timeless and sacred. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ emphasized the importance of treating women with kindness and fairness, reminding the believers that the best of men are those who are best to their women. This teaching reflects the core of Islamic ethics, justice, mercy, and balance. A woman's respect is not conditional upon her wealth, beauty, or social role. It is guaranteed by her faith and humanity. Whether she is a mother raising her children, a scholar seeking knowledge, or a worker contributing to her community, her efforts are valued by Allah and rewarded beyond measure. Through divine rights, Islam lifted women from being seen as possessions to being honored as partners in building society. Her consent in marriage is required. Her inheritance is protected, and her opinions are respected. These principles give her a voice and a purpose grounded in divine justice. The Quran constantly reminds believers that men and women are allies in faith, supporting one another in goodness and righteousness. This spiritual partnership eliminates any sense of competition or dominance, replacing it with harmony and respect. Her rights are her protection, her dignity is her armor, and her faith is her greatest source of empowerment. A believing woman does not seek validation from the world, but finds her peace and purpose in serving Allah. Her heart is guided by faith, not by the changing opinions of people. In a society that constantly demands attention and admiration, she stands firm with quiet strength, knowing that her value does not depend on how others perceive her. Her purpose is not to impress, but to fulfill her responsibility as a servant of the Creator. When she wakes, she begins her day with remembrance of Allah, and when she works, she does so with sincerity, seeking only His pleasure. Every act of kindness, patience, and sacrifice becomes a form of worship that brings her closer to her Lord. She does not measure her worth through material success or social recognition. Instead, she finds true satisfaction in the peace that comes from living by faith. When faced with hardship, she remembers that every trial is a test meant to elevate her. When blessed with ease, she remains grateful and humble. Her connection with Allah gives her stability that no worldly power can shake. She does not need to conform to the world's definitions of happiness, beauty, or success because her heart has found a higher purpose. Through her faith, she becomes an example of strength, patience, and grace. Her calmness in adversity reflects her trust in Allah's plan. Her dedication to prayer strengthens her spirit, and her humility draws her closer to divine mercy. While others may chase recognition that fades with time, she pursues the eternal reward promised by her Creator. Her journey is not about worldly applause, but about spiritual fulfillment, where every step she takes with sincerity leads her toward peace, contentment, and eternal success. The strength of a Muslim woman comes from her unwavering connection to Allah, which gives her purpose, direction, and inner peace. Her faith is the source of her courage, guiding her through life's challenges with patience and hope. When the world tries to shake her confidence or question her beliefs, she stands firm because she knows that Allah is with those who remain steadfast. Her power is not loud or boastful, it is quiet, spiritual, and deeply rooted in her heart. This power allows her to rise after every hardship, to smile after every tear, and to continue walking with dignity no matter how heavy the burden becomes. Her belief in Allah fills her with a sense of purpose that worldly goals can never provide. She understands that every trial is an opportunity to strengthen her faith, every difficulty a lesson in endurance, and every success a blessing to be grateful for. She relies on her prayers to seek comfort, on the Quran for guidance, and on patience as her shield. This spiritual connection shapes her character, making her compassionate, wise, and strong in both emotion and action. Her trust in Allah frees her from fear of the future because she knows that her destiny lies in the hands of the most merciful. Faith transforms her perspective on life. It teaches her that even small acts of kindness hold great value, that forgiveness brings peace, and that hope should never fade. With this faith, she becomes a source of light for her family and community, inspiring others through her calmness and conviction. Her power does not come from control over others, but from control over herself, her thoughts, her emotions, and her soul, all guided by her deep and unshakable trust in Allah. In the light of Islam, the comparison between women of different faiths fades before the brilliance of true belief. What defines a woman is not her background, culture, or appearance, but her faith and the purity of her heart. A Muslim woman who walks with modesty, guards her dignity, and holds firm to her connection with Allah carries a beauty that no mirror can reflect and a strength that no worldly measure can define. Her worth is eternal because it is written by her Creator, not by society. She lives with purpose, guided by the Quran and strengthened by prayer. Her silence speaks wisdom, her patience shows courage, and her faith illuminates her path even in the darkest times. In a world that constantly changes its values, she remains steady, not because the world accepts her, but because Allah honors her. Her crown is her modesty, her power is her devotion, and her reward is promised in the hereafter. The greatness of a Muslim woman lies in her surrender to Allah, for through that surrender she gains everything: peace, dignity, and divine success. She does not need to compete with others or seek recognition, because her heart beats with faith that already makes her victorious. Such is the glory of a believing woman in Islam, graceful in conduct, powerful in patience, and radiant in faith.